What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. Well, it looks like Disney is all set to mess up yet another one of my favorite franchises of all times. They're about to absolutely, completely destroy Indiana Jones in a TV series eyed for Disney Plus. I don't understand why they just don't leave well enough alone. It seems like they should be out there trying to make new stuff. Let me take that back. I know why they do it, okay? Because these guys are uncreative hacks and they can't do anything better. They have a popular IP, right? They have a very popular IP and they're just gonna milk this thing until the wheels pop off of it. Yikes, man. The last thing I wanted them to do was make another Indiana Jones film, but they said they're going to do 5 and then Harrison Ford is done. I was like, all right, cool. Just let it be done. Let it be over with, because these guys don't know what they're doing. Okay. I already had problems with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't even consider that part of the Indiana Jones lineup of films, to be quite honest with you. You know, that thing just doesn't belong anywhere near the perfect trilogy. Those first 3 films. Perfect. Should have just left them alone, okay? Even with the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and all of those adventures, I thought that stuff was just kind of shaky, you know, still fun, but a little shaky here and there. But yeah, they're going to try to go back to this well because they got to milk these popular IPs because they have no creativity. They can't come up with nothing new. And here we go again. Now, full disclosure for you guys that don't know, Raiders of the Lost Ark is my #1 film of all time. It hasn't come close to being beaten either, okay? That's my #1 film of all time. And it's one of the films that actually made me want to be a writer, okay? Want to write my own stories, because I loved the way that whole story and the adventure and the excitement just all came together. It made me want to write. As a matter of fact, just a quick plug, this book is my version of Indiana Jones, like what I would do if I ever had an opportunity to write it. This book right here that I write, and you can check it out in the description, okay? This is pretty much an Indiana Jones story, okay? With the family, all right? Let's look at it that way. Anyway, let's move on. Man, I'm so frustrated about this. It says here, Disney is actively looking to develop an Indiana Jones TV show for Disney Plus. Variety has learned exclusively from sources. The Mouse House and Lucasfilm has specifically been bringing up the possibility of a streaming show set in the world of the globe-trotting archaeologists. In general meetings with writers of late, sources say they are still looking for a writer to take on the project. Thus, no plot details are available. Given that it is unknown if a series would serve as a prequel or a spin-off of the film franchise, or if it would tie into the upcoming 5th Indiana Jones film, similar to how Disney has tied its Marvel shows on Disney Plus into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Honestly, if they're really serious about doing this, they need to go back and recast Indiana Jones, obviously. They need to go back into his heyday, right? Which will probably plant it somewhere between the 1920s and the 1940s, okay? They need to just plant it right in that area, okay? That 20-year gap, and just play with that, okay? Have a different Indiana Jones and just send them off on all kinds of adventures and do that. That's it, okay? You know, there were a lot of great Indiana Jones little books and novels that used to come out back in the day that I read a ton of when I was growing up. They could go back and, you know, take some of the ideas out of that and remake those. Some of those books were actually okay. Some of them kind of hokey, but they could go back and do that. They could go and get George Lucas, say, hey, George, what do you want to do? What would you do for an Indiana Jones series? And just take off with that. But I would do one of those books, maybe one season is equal to an entire, you know, little chapter book, and just kind of go through it that way. If they're going to do it correctly. They're not going to do anything like that. They're going to make something stupid because it's Disney, okay? That's what Disney does. Move to potentially develop an Indiana Jones show comes as Harrison Ford has stated he is done with the character after the 5th film. Should have been done after the 3rd, Harrison, which is due out in 2023. In addition, sources say Disney is currently exploring a number of options to keep the franchise going, which could mean a new series, new films, other media, or a combination thereof. Lucasfilm declined to comment. Should the series move forward, it would not be the first show. Yeah, we talked about it. Young Indiana Jones Chronicle came out on ABC. That was all right. You know, there wasn't the greatest show on earth, okay? It was fun. If you loved Indiana Jones, you probably got more into it than just your regular general audience, okay? If you were just like a huge Raiders fan or Indiana Jones fan, you probably got into it, you know, but for the most part, it's just okay. It's not the greatest thing ever. Some of those stories were just kind of not that interesting. And then they had Ford made-for-TV specials that showed up on the Family Channel. Ford made a cameo appearance in one episode, but the show primarily focused on the early years of the character, and, you know, it had a couple of cats playing them and all of that. He's an iconic pop culture character. Like, honestly, one of the biggest in the history of Hollywood, okay? So there's no question that they're going to want to take this character and take this IP and do all kind of nonsense with it. But I don't trust Disney at all, okay? I mean, Disney has proven that they don't know how to handle Star Wars. Star Wars is a slam dunk. How do you not get Star Wars right? You know what I mean? Like, how do you mess Star Wars up? And now you're going to come into Indiana Jones, which in my opinion is just slightly more complicated. You know, yeah, you can just make it escapist adventure and that's fine. But you can see what they tried to do with them in the Crystal Skull. And it's like, okay, even the originators didn't understand the appeal of the character. They didn't understand why Indiana Jones was so popular to begin with. They got to get down to the hardcore mythology of Indiana Jones movies, okay? They were always based in some sort of a religious mythology, which was always interesting. You get to dig into different types of religion, see what their mythologies were like. That's what I loved about it, okay? Once the Indiana Jones movie is over, man, I used to bust out the encyclopedia and start reading up on all this other stuff. Hey, man, what happened with the Lost Ark of the Covenant? You know, like the Sankara stones and like the whole thuggy cult and all that kind of stuff. That was like real. Oh, okay, cool. Let me read up on that. They actually got into real history and real mythology, and that stuff was fun. You know, then they kind of went with the aliens, and I was just like, bunk, boring, dumb. I don't understand why George Lucas went in that particular direction. But nevertheless, now this 5th film is going to be directed by James Mangold. I actually like James Mangold. I think he's done pretty solid on almost everything that he's done. I just don't trust him because it's Disney, you know, but we'll have to see. I'm definitely going to go check out the movie. I'm never going to not see an Indiana Jones film. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't really frustrated right now because of just what Disney Plus has done, just what Disney has done in general with these big IPs that they've taken over. I mean, again, if you can't get Star Wars right, man, there's no way in hell you're going to get Indiana Jones right. But what do you think, folks? Go ahead, give me your thoughts and your opinions on how Disney is going to absolutely butcher this completely like beloved franchise. Leave that in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.